Hello, this is Dr. Gwen Fisher in Psychology 440, Industrial Psychology, still in Module 14, Organizational Development and Change. This begins Module 14.2, History of Organizational Development. The agenda for this particular module is that we'll discuss the history of organizational development. And by the end of this module, you should know and understand the brief history of OD. So thinking back big picture in industrial organizational psychology, and we covered this in Module 1, we talked about where IO psychology came from, and it really is rooted in the science of industrial efficiency. You may recall the name Frederick Winslow Taylor, who is credited with being one of the fathers or grandfathers of industrial psychology, and had written a document called Principles of Scientific Management. And in his work, he was really focused on what do workers do to get the work done as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And then it was later on that we saw the human relations movement. And in the notion of the human relations movement was really more of a focus on workers' attitudes and their behaviors, and taking into account that the way we treat workers can really improve the way organizations function. This was also the time at which we had things like the Hawthorne studies come about, which again you may recall from Module 1. Also relevant here is System for Design by Rensis Likert. And just to be clear, that is pronounced, believe it or not, Likert, not Likert. I think many people out there refer to Likert and all of his work in scale development and so forth. But what Likert did was comprised a design in which it consisted of goal setting, decision making, leadership, and reward systems that are really designed to maximize the trust between employees and management, again, focusing on and caring about how workers feel. And a lot of the earlier work in organizational development really focused on leadership and how to develop leaders' personal development, focusing on interpersonal competencies and how to encourage things like workers' participation, their commitment, their satisfaction. Again, everything consistent with the human relations movement. However, later on, there was more of a focus on the big picture, and instead of just individual workers' attitudes, how can we align what's happening in organizations with the bigger picture, with the strategic goals of the organization, and then aligning the organization with the external environment. An example of where this has happened successfully is with organizations that focus on things like corporate social responsibility, or perhaps philanthropy and philanthropic missions as ways of aligning what they're doing with the external environment as well. That concludes our module on just a brief history of organizational development, and next we'll talk about types of organizational change. Thank you.